of why these storms are coming, why we are being punished by Mother Nature. There's no answer. The government doesn't say, God has rules. If you break these rules, you'll suffer. Yes, you will. Whether it's personally or in this case, collectively, collective karma. And this is very unfortunate. And Prabhupada speaks about it in India. In a lecture, he says, and now these politicians, he says, they're allowing this sale of meat, the slaughtering of the cow in India. And he goes, and this is very unfortunate for this, because India is the land of dharma, of spiritual life. It is a great opportunity for people, especially from that country, born in that country where Krishna appeared, where all the saints have been, Lord Chaitanya appeared, and now they're allowing the wholesale slaughter of animals. And Prabhupada goes, this is very unfortunate, that we have to be ruled by such rascals, he goes. So the modern world is in chaos and turmoil. There are wars, there are hurricanes, there's Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika, Adi Atmaka, Nilesh, all these threefold miseries. There's sevenfold miseries: birth, death, disease, old age, the miseries caused by other living entities in the form of wars, the miseries caused by the material nature in the form of natural disasters like we saw, unfortunately, in your state there, terrible. And the miseries caused by one's own body and mind. Yes, we are suffering constantly. The mind, as we were reading earlier in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, in the 5th chapter here, I think we're still in the purport, Prabhupada's talking about the velocity of the mind, how fast it moves. The velocity, he refers to the velocity of intelligence, and thirdly, the velocity of the soul, and how quickly it can travel. So these are subtle sciences, and the mind is very difficult to overcome. Of all the senses, the mind is the most difficult and hard to control, or actually the tongue, but then the mind becomes affected. It's the center of all the activities. It's the sixth sense. So conquering the mind, overcoming the modes of material nature, becoming fixed in devotional service, taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, and staying steady and determined throughout your entire life. This is, of course, the business of a devotee, a real devotee. Staying true to Srila Prabhupada. You know, nowadays, and I'll finish up, anarchy is all pervasive, whether it's in the human society or in the spiritual societies that we're in, where everybody's on their own. Yes, we're seeing that, especially in the Vaishnava communities that we are dealing with, the Ritviks, the Prabhupada Nugas. I don't know where that name came from anyway. Doesn't matter. I get the idea. Yeah, we're followers of Prabhupada, but really, we're all disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. That's our position. And that's why our society, our group, we're not institutionalized. We do associate, Prabhupada Disciples Association, to get an opportunity to share the study. And we're so fortunate, Nilesh, as you know, to have some godbrothers with us, like, for example, our godbrother Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, who's extraordinary memory. It's extraordinary. In fact, I can't think of anybody that I've ever experienced with as much memory of Srila Prabhupada, such vivid explanations, so articulately and explicitly explained by him from his association with Prabhupada. It's extraordinary. So we're all blessed. That's the point. We're a very blessed group, and we want to thank today all of you for coming to the class. It's being broadcast on Hare Krishna Society YouTube. I was just looking at it, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, before I came to the screen here to see how many views we've had, and it varies it seems to expand as months go on, and we go from, how can I say, 100, 150, it's up to 400, 500. Some have 1,000 views of the class. So the message is gradually getting out that Prabhupada lives in his Vani incarnation along with his disciples who worship him in that way. And that's what we're presenting to people. So we want to thank you for participating, everybody, whether it's currently on the live broadcast or in the future when you attend the class due to circumstances, scheduling, whatever, you come to the class, you get a chance to get this focal point presentation of our philosophy of Guru Tattva, that Prabhupada lives in sound and his disciples live with him. So we're going to go now to the diaries of Srila Prabhupada, which we have been certainly enjoying. And where are we here? Okay, March 18th I sent you. Yeah, my card flipped out. We're moving along quite quickly in this. So this is back on March 18th, 1966. And a very important part of study is to see how the spiritual master conducted himself when he had nothing. Actually, all he had was the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, which was everything, and his commitment to his spiritual master. And with that strength in his conviction and his determination, this movement unfolded. So on Friday, March 18th, was Dwadasi. Sunrise was at 6:08 a.m. Sunset was 6:09 p.m. Moonrise was 5:09 a.m. Today, one letter received from Chandrasekhar. He encourages to us to stay in America for at least 3 years. Okay, good. God bless him, Prabhupada says. There is some good sales of Srimad Bhagavatam, he reports. Oh. So Prabhupada's constantly selling books. Beautiful. 2 letters posted as follows. 1 letter to Padman Pat Singhayani. 1 letter to Srimati Sumati Maharajji. Dr. Mishra made bad remark on Tilak in Kanti. So this is the fellow that has the Ananda Ashram, everyone. Prabhupada makes a note of that. He commits offenses. I don't know when he will come to his real sense. So he writes this down in his diary. No expenditures and income by contribution, $4. Tonight, 5 ladies and a gentleman attended the meeting from 7 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. and 15-minute talks, kirtan and lectures on the Bhagavad Gita were performed. Saturday, March 19th. Is that St. Patrick's Day? Is that? I don't know. Triodasi, sunrise 6:06 a.m., sunset 6:11 p.m., moonrise 5:33 a.m. Prabhupada's clocking the movement of the sun. Today I was to go to ashram, but Yolanda did not go, so I could not go. I prepared a tape record of Chintamani. We've all heard that. That's amazing recording, huh? Income $1 with no expenditures. Sunday, March 20th, Chaturdasi and Amabasya. Sunrise 6:04 a.m. Sunset 6:12 p.m. Moonrise 5:56. Sets. Some 4 gentlemen and ladies came to see me. We talked for some time. They have given their addresses. Prabhupada's following up. No income and no expenditures. She took addresses. I have an interesting story I'll relate in my little section after the class about giving out information to people and how it might benefit them. Monday, the 21st of March, sunrise 6:02. Oh, there, thank you. Yeah, I see you went to, okay, we've got the picture there. You can show that picture if you want. This was Prabhupada, a picture in New York at his room where his desk is. Sunrise 6:02 a.m., sunset 6:13 p.m., moonset 5:44. Pratipad, no letter received today. One invitation through Dr. Mishra received for attending lectures of Indira Gandhi on the April 1st. If somebody takes me, then I shall go. I distributed prasadam to all at Dr. Mishra's apartment. So he was cooking up there. In the evening, there was a meeting, 5 ladies and gentlemen. 5 people attended. Gita explained about individuality of living entities. The income was $2 and there was no expenditures. Tuesday, March 22nd, sunrise 6 a.m., sunset 6:14 p.m., moonset 6:48, Dvicha. 2 letters received as follows, one from the mayor's office, New York City, and one from the United States Navigation. Regarding the Jaladuta, one letter to the United States Navigation replied, in the evening, 2 gentlemen and a lady came, discussed for some time, and there was no income and no expenditures. Could be discouraging. Wednesday, March 23rd, 1966, sunrise 5:58 a.m., sunset 6:17 p.m., moonsets 8:59 p.m., Tritiya. One letter of mayor's office replied, informed him that I shall wait to see Mr. Lindsay till he is free to talk with me. One letter received to the Director Library of Congress, Washington, D.C., asking for library card number of my Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's moving ahead very intelligently. Jones paid me a $5 contribution. Thanks, he says. He writes it in the diary. In the doctor's apartment, there were 10 to 11 members, and I cooked for them all. So that's Dr. Mishra upstairs on the 7th floor. Today's meeting, only 2 gentlemen attended, therefore I did not record the speeches. No expenditure. So we're seeing the pace here. Thursday, March 24th, sunrise 5:57. Sunset 6:18 p.m., moonsets 10:07 p.m., Chaturthi. No letter received today. It is understood that the SS Jaladuta is on the New York port. Mr. Forrester could not be contacted on phone. Message left for conveying to Captain Pandya. He may come today. The temple house, it seems to be occupied. Do not know whether sold or rented out. I am mortified. Let Lord Sri Krishna's wish may be fulfilled. But it is a great shock to me if it has now gone to others. Well, Prabhupada's so eager to push forward. Captain Pandya with Mrs. Pandya came to see me. They are happy, and I was so pleased to see them. They will come tomorrow again. I have instructed him to see Srimati Maharajji in Bombay and talk with her about my letters. There was a meeting today. 3 ladies and 3 gentlemen, besides the captain and his wife, attended. So that's 8 people. The meeting, Mr. Robert brought some fruits and grains for me, and there was no income and no expenditures. Very little action there. Now let's read Friday, March 25th. Sunrise 5:55 a.m. Sunset 6:18 p.m. Moonset 10:07 p.m. Panchami. Today, one letter received from Vrindavan, Chandra Day, Calcutta, India. Meeting in the evening, 7 ladies and a gentleman attended the meeting. Captain and Mrs. Pandya also were there. Income was $22. Everyone brought some fruits and grains. There were 2 newcomers, and addresses were taken. So keeping track and follow up. That's the secret of success in every action. No expenditures. And lastly, Saturday, March 26, 1966, sunrise 5:53 a.m., sunset 6:19 p.m., moonset 11:18 p.m. Today, when I came back from Dr. and Mrs. apartment at 1 p.m., I saw my window on the door broken, and entering the door, I saw my tape recorder, typewriter, and book bag stolen. Oh my God. A separate note is written in this connection. At 2 p.m., Mr. Lablin came to take me to the ashram, and I went there. The whole thing was upset. Purchased 1 bottle of sour salt, 30 cents, and there was no income. So this was a very unfortunate day for Srila Prabhupada. Everything being robbed from him by some low-life peasant in New York. But did it stop him? No, it didn't. Did he march forward? Yes, he did. Was he successful? Extremely. By the grace of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, by the grace of the 6 Goswamis and of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then the reading and discussion being led by Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu in Twain Harte, California. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Parivrajagacārya Sattvaresvara Smadhakti Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Ramacārya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Mo Gopinath Sam Khund Radha Khund Giri Govinda ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai ki Jai, Jamuna Mai ki Jai, Dwarka Dham ki Jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki Jai, all glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Glories to you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayam mudirayet Tato jayam mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supramost human being, 3, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Just look at the screen again here, hold on. We will be reading a few selected verses from the Caitanya-caritāmṛta itself, from Adi Lila, chapter 1, from text 18 to 22, describing the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Caitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. 18 Thakur Gaudiya ke Karya Chenayatma Sat, 18 Era Charana Vandan Tire Morinat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Granter Arambi Karimangala Charana Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Tinera Smaranayai Vigna Vinashana Anayaseai Nijavanchita Purana Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desire. Grantera Rambi Karimangala Charana Simangala Charana Trivida Prakar Vastu Nirdesha Ashirvada Namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. We will proceed with our reading. Today we are still reading from Caitanya-caritāmṛta Adi Lila, chapter 5, text number 32. Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpavriksha laksha vriteshu surabhirabi palayantam Lakshmi sahasrashata sambrama sevyamanam Govinda Purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitors, who is tending the cows, yielding all desires in abodes built with spiritual gems and surrounded by millions of purpose trees. He is always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. I believe we are on the purport on page, I don't know exactly, I think I have page 391 in the bottom of the page. Prabhupada explains, a purified materialist who has performed many sacrifices, undergone severe penances, and given the major portion of his wealth in charity, can reach such planets as Dhruva Loka, and if he becomes still more qualified there, he can penetrate still higher orbits and pass through the navel of the universe to reach the planet Maharloka, where sages like Bhrigu Muni live. In Maharloka, one can live even to the time of the partial annihilation of the universe. This annihilation begins when Antadeva, from the lowest position in the universe, produces a great blazing fire. The heat of this fire reaches even Maharloka, and then the residents of Maharloka travel to Brahmaloka, which exists for twice the duration of Pararda time. In Brahmaloka, there is an unlimited number of airplanes that are controlled not by yantra, machine, but mantra, psychic action. Because of the existence of the mind and intelligence on Brahmaloka, its residents have feelings of happiness and distress, but there's no cause of lamentation from old age, death, fear, or distress. They feel sympathy, however, for the suffering living beings who are consumed in the fire of annihilation. The residents of Brahmaloka do not have gross material bodies to change at death, but they transform their subtle bodies into spiritual bodies and thus enter the spiritual sky. The residents of Brahmaloka can attain perfection in three different ways. Virtuous persons who reach Brahmaloka by dint of their pious work become masters of various planets after the resurrection of Brahma. Those who have worshipped Garbhodakashaya Vishnu are liberated with Brahma, and those who are pure devotees of the personality of Godhead at once push through the covering of the universe and enter the spiritual sky. The numberless universes exist together in foam-like clusters, and so only some of them are surrounded by the water of the causal ocean. When agitated by the glance of Karanodakshaya Vishnu, material nature produces the total elements, which are 8 in number and which gradually evolve from finer to gross. A part of ego is the sky, a part of which is air, a part of which is fire, a part of which is water, a part of which is earth. Thus, one universe inflates to an area of 4 billion miles in diameter. A yogi who desires gradual liberation must penetrate all the different coverings of the universe, including the subtle coverings of the three qualitative modes of material nature. One who does this never has to return to this mortal world. According to Shukadeva Goswami, the above description of the material and spiritual skies is neither imaginary nor utopian. The actual facts are recorded in the Vedic hymns, and Lord Vasudeva disclosed them to Lord Brahma when Brahma satisfied him. One can achieve the perfection of life only when he has a definite idea of Vaikuntha and the Supreme Godhead. One should always think about and describe the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for this is recommended in both the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavata Purana, which are two authorized commentaries upon the Vedas. Lord Chaitanya has made all these subject matters easier for the fallen people of this age to accept, and Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta has therefore presented them for the easy understanding of all concerned. Text 23. Mathura dvarakadya nijarupa prakashiya nanarupe vilasaye chatur vyohaina. Mathura in Mathura, Dwarakaya in Dwaraka, Nijarupa, personal body, Prakashiya, manifesting, Nana Rupe, in various ways, Vilasaye, enjoys pastimes, Chatu Vyuha Ayana, expanding into 4 wonderful forms. Translation: he manifests his own form in Mathura and Dwaraka. He enjoys pastimes in various ways by expanding into the quadruple forms. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadana Strinam Danter Hidam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Shadakaromi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada in this purport is describing, continuing his description of the spiritual world. Now, it's important to understand that various type of practitioners can reach the spiritual world, as Prabhupada describes in the purport. But no one can enter there without being purified. And there's a process. The Bhagavad Gita describes the process. It is not complicated to understand. It is a matter of qualification. Just like in order to become a dental surgeon, a person cannot say, well, I took a high school course about anatomy and biology. I understand the structure of the mouth. I understand a few of the nerves. So let me go do some complex dental surgery. It doesn't work that way. One has to get the proper training. One has to pass the course. One has to go to university or college, study under some experienced, eminent professors, pass the tests, graduate. Then one has to practice for some time. And then one can perform dental surgery. It is not that anybody and his brother can decide all of a sudden, okay, let me open a shop and open people's mouth and practice surgery. That is not allowed. Similarly, in order to enter the spiritual world, Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita, Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam, that one has to finish all sinful activities, all vikarma, all bad karma is to be finished. Nadeva devamarchayet. One cannot worship the Supreme Godhead without being purified himself. That is why in the Vedic system, there is a system of samskaras, purificatory ceremonies, by which one can gradually purify his existence. And in Kali Yuga, it is made especially simple by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, somebody this week asked me the question, we've been asked that question several times, why is it that you and Vishwakarma spend so much time on these diaries? Well, this is not just the diary of an ordinary person. This is the diary of an empowered person. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu has given us the verse that we were quoting, Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva mohanirmukta bhajanti mam drida vrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous life and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. And Prabhupada explains in the purport, only those who have passed their lives in practicing the regulative principles of religion, who have acted piously and have conquered sinful reactions, can accept devotional service and gradually rise to the pure knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then gradually they can meditate in trance on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the process of being situated on the spiritual platform. This elevation is possible in Krishna consciousness, in the association of pure devotees who can deliver one from delusion. Now, it's important to understand that the process is not simply to become a bookworm. It is not just a reading process. This is a practical practice. Bhakti Yoga means practice, actual practice to engage the senses in the service of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We see in the Bhagavad Gita, in another place, Prabhupada explains that great sages for a long time have attained perfection by chanting the holy name of Lord Rama. Ramante yoginanante satyananda chidatmani iti Rama padinaso param brahma abhidiyate. That Ramante yoginanante, the yogis, they're enjoying the platform of Satchidananda, of knowledge and bliss and eternal existence. And anyone can attain that platform and become free from the miseries of material existence. Now, somebody may ask, is that really possible in this world? Well, Krishna says it can. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita how to do this. It's not complicated. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. In this world, everybody is looking for affection. Everybody is looking for compassion, affection, for love. Unfortunately, in this world, the so-called love we're experiencing is very temporary and is always mixed with suffering and disappointment. Even the animals, you look at cows, goats, animals, tigers, lions, they also have the natural tendency for affection towards their children, their siblings. Human being will spend so much effort, so much money, so much time to take care of their offspring, their family, their children. But why? Because that is the natural tendency to love, to give affection and to receive affection. Unfortunately, in this world, we can't get pure affection because the nature of this world is temporary and suffering. Just like you think that this week in Florida, people were praying to Jesus or Krishna and say, please send us a beautiful tornado here and a series of wonderful events so we can experience all this rain and pain and suffering. Nobody does that. As a matter of fact, people were preparing. There was something on TV, the governor of Florida was warning people to evacuate, to prepare for the upcoming suffering. So Bhagavad Gita is like that. One can learn the science of how to become prepared to avoid suffering, to avoid the pain of this material world. Bhagavad Gita describes there are 4 primary problems here: Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease. And how is this pain manifested? In 3 basic ways. Adhyatmika klesha, miseries due to one's own body. As soon as you're born, it is guaranteed that one will experience some miseries. Everybody, every human being experiences that. It doesn't matter how intelligent, how beautiful, how rich, how fortunate, it doesn't matter. Everyone will experience some miseries due to his body. Adibhautika klesha, miseries due to other living entities. Just like in Florida, you go to some places, there's a lot of mosquitoes. People who buy these houses, they sometimes have put these very large mosquito nets so they do not become chased and harassed by mosquitoes. Well, why is this? Does anybody want to be harassed by mosquito and get painful bites? No. There's miseries due to insects, miseries due to animals, miseries due to other living entities, envious other beings, miseries due to government officers, so many miseries due to other living entities. And the last of the 3, klesha, is called adidaivika klesha, miseries due to the influence of the demigods. Of course, in modern society, they don't believe in demigods, although some people are intelligent and inquiring about UFOs. Well, we don't talk about UFOs. We talk about IFOs, identified flying objects. And this is from living beings in higher planets, such as the sun, the moon. There are agents of Krishna who are engaged in the management, the function of the universe, the light, the rain, the clouds, everything. Nothing happens by chance. Only an imbecile and a foolish, naive person thinks that things happen by chance. Those educated people who claim that the universe, everything came by chance, did their education come by chance? This is very, very nice text here. 3 types of klesha, not kalesha, klesha, K-L-E-S-A. Adhyatmika klesha, internal suffering. Adibhautika klesha, suffering from external beings. Adidaivika klesha, sufferings from divine or cosmic forces. Although we may not be able to see these persons, just like in Florida 2 days ago or yesterday, that hurricane made a landfall. Now that hurricane is pretty powerful. No one can stop it. Even if somebody, let's say in Tampa, there are some people that are very wealthy, very rich. Can they say, I'm going to stop the hurricane? The hurricane can't come here. No, you don't have that power. And this is the influence of Adidaivika klesha. The combination of Indra sending the rain, Vayu sending the demigod in charge of the wind. But this also is due to people's karma. When human beings unnecessarily kill animals, there is karma. There is reaction in the form of war, pestilence, famine, suffering. There is no need for human beings to unnecessarily killing animals, especially cows. But some foolish people think, oh, it says in such and such scripture, the animals have been put here for us to enjoy. No, that is not. That is a misinterpretation. That is a concoction. Human beings can eat very healthy with grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, all different kinds of healthy combinations. No need of this slaughterhouse business. No need of this crazy, insane, unnecessary suffering inflicted upon the animals. This week, somebody sent me a video on YouTube. They're showing a calf running towards the cow. It was actually a sanctuary within the United States, caring for animals that have been either abandoned or sick or that are in trouble. And they take these animals and care for them, give them some care, medical care, feed them. But the animal was showing all kinds of affection. So people who say that the animal has no soul, how is it showing some affection? It is not a stone. It is not dead. Same thing for all the animals. Somebody else sent me an interesting video of a little tiger cub that is going to his mother and embracing the mother, and the mother is reaching for the baby, giving him some affection. This idea that the animals have no soul is simply a false justification for unnecessarily killing the animals. One should respect all living entities and not unnecessarily kill any animals, especially the cow, because the cow gives milk, which is very valuable for human society. Even the stool of the animal can be used for fertilizer, so many things. But because of a barbarian, nonsensical attitude, people think, oh, I should kill the animals. They say you need it for protein. That's bogus. That's nonsense. You can eat very healthy with all kinds of grains, all kinds of fruits, vegetables, milk. It is not difficult. One has to grow up of the barbarian, outdated mentality of unnecessary animal killings. It pollutes the environment. It utilizes too much land for animal breeding, for fattening the animals. It is much more economically productive to use that same land to grow grains. But there is a method in human society to derive food. It is not necessarily to kill animals. That is a barbarian brute mentality, which creates all kinds of problems and bad karma. When the Vietnam War was there, devotees went to Prabhupada and asked him, why is it that so many Americans are being killed in this war? And Prabhupada's point, well, you kill the animals, this is the karma, this is the reaction. And we see this in various places on the planet, various conflicts. People are asking, oh, you should support this side, support that side, support this country, support that country. But all of them are involved in animal killing. All of them are involved in producing bad karma. Therefore, the klesha, the adidevika klesha, suffering from divine causes, adibhautika klesha, suffering from external beings, other human beings will come. If somebody understands that everything belongs to God, why they are fighting? Why don't they share the land, share the water? No, but because they have a defective mentality, a non-godly mentality. Therefore, these conflicts are there. And these conflicts have always existed in human society. So one should evolve beyond this narrow-minded mentality and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by engaging in Harinam Sankirtana. Somebody may ask, well, why? What is the benefit of this Harinam Sankirtana? It will solve all problems. This is the prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is also described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Kaler dosha nidhi rajan asti eko mahan gunaha. This current age is called the age of hypocrisy and quarrel, where on the slightest provocation there will be fighting. There will be fighting and discord. Therefore, it is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this age of Kali is an ocean of fault, dosha nidhi. Dosha means fault, nidhi means ocean. But simply by chanting the name of Krishna, Kirtanadeva Krishnasya, simply by chanting the name of Krishna, Mukta Sangha Parambrajet, one can solve all problems, both individually, within one's family, within one's community, within one's city, one's country, everywhere. All problems can be solved by taking shelter of the instruction of Srimad Bhagavatam. To chant the Maha Mantra, offer one's foodstuff to Krishna with love and devotion, and becoming familiar with the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, this will solve all problems. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Yaśodā, very much as well for your explanation of today's philosophy from our scriptures. And I thought it was interesting to note that you were commenting on people that want to practice dentistry, but if they're not properly trained, then they will hurt the patient. So it is a matter of getting the proper training from a bona fide professor of dentistry and applying yourself to learning it seriously, not whimsically. Otherwise, when you go out, if you are practicing dentistry but you didn't listen and you didn't have a qualified teacher, guess what, Nilesh? You wreak havoc to the patients that you have. You cause all kinds of misery. And I thought that was an interesting analogy in terms of guru. You go look for a guru, and that guru is misinformed about his position as servant of the bona fide spiritual master. It's due to his own false ego. It's due to his own personal ambition. It's due to his misconceptions of the purpose of life. And what does he do? He shares it with other people, and it confuses them. And this is called anarchy, complete madness. And this has entered into the ISKCON group at a very high level. And these people are unqualified to give initiation. They're unqualified to teach the philosophy. They don't repeat Prabhupada's teachings, Nilesh. They concoct their own manufactured stupidity. And if anybody goes online that's got a half a brain like we do, half a brain, and you listen to these people talk, you listen to them, how they twist the philosophy. Kirtananda used to do this. I can't stand that person because of what he did to other people. He would twist the philosophy, distort it for their simplistic from their simplistic perspective, and exploit them, and they would do horrendous things, and he would do horrendous things to them. Oh, yes. And someone could say, well, that never happened. Yes, it did. It's you don't listen, you don't understand, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a neophyte. That's what you are. You're a neophyte. Now, someone will say, well, you can't say that. Yes, we can. Why? Because we've seen 1,000 neophytes. We have. We've dealt with thousands of people in this practice of Krishna consciousness. Someone, well, you're not qualified. I was listening to a tape, Nilesh, today. Prabhupada was speaking in New Vrindavan. And he goes, we should refer to each other as Prabhu. The people, oh. And he says, this is not a new thing. Prabhu is not a new thing. It means master. That's the meaning. And he said, you should offer respect to my disciple, Kirtananda. He uses him as the example at the time. You should offer respect to him because even though he's my disciple, he is helping you understand Krishna consciousness. Of course, we all know how that turned out. He wasn't. But Prabhupada was encouraging us to offer respect to each other. So it is important to be in association with quality people, people that have quality understanding, people that are quality students, and they learn carefully in association with each other what is the correct understanding of philosophy. And this is what you look for. You don't go look for some guy that puts a placard up, I'm a dentist and he's a butcher. That's what we're getting. The butcher gurus. They're killing people. Bhakti Vikash, Bhakti Vidyapurna, more pronounced. His deviant behavior for 20 years. And look what's happened with the current fiasco with Giriraj. What a sad thing. What are we sad about? Well, we're sad about the fact that he misled people in this process of Krishna consciousness without being honest. That's the sadness. Because people are sincere, they're looking for proper direction. But when they get misled, they become confused. And it's getting to the point, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, where people have no respect for Prabhupada disciples, period. There's been so many fiascos. If you bring that up amongst the Gurukulis, the old ones that we know, and you bring up, this guy's a Prabhupada disciple, he's a goofball. The whole thing is a madness. So the whole thing is just fallen apart, basically. And this is very unfortunate. And that's why we're promoting the critical study of the books amongst each other. And we're conducting it in our classes, the critical study. We're critically studying the diaries. We've been reading the diaries progressively for 2 years. I think we've read them through 3 or 4 times. And we stay on it because we learn so much from the diaries about the character of a great person and how he handled his trials and tribulations, and how we can do it with our own efforts to try to please him and serve him. So that's a one section that you referred to, Prabhu, that I thank you very much. And I know Nilesh, he's a professor of this particular topic, so he can understand it very well from firsthand experience. And secondly, Prabhupada, I was listening to a talk, everyone, and Prabhupada was saying that if you simply chant Hare Krishna every day, if you listen to the holy name, then Krishna will bless you and you'll be able to understand everything simply by chanting Hare Krishna. Think about that. But then he qualifies it. without offense. Prabhupada says you must chant without offense. You cannot disobey the order of the spiritual master. You cannot try to surpass the spiritual master by your so-called intellectual study of him and pretend you become a spiritual master in disciplic succession from the six Goswamis and Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada. This is completely atrocious. This is not the proper understanding. And I thought it might be interesting, Nilesh, if maybe you could bring up, were you able to find the 10 offenses in chanting? If you could bring them up on the screen, we'll read them out as the last section, just so that we used to do it every morning, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. Every morning we would recite in the morning program the 10 offenses against chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. And it's very valuable for us just to quickly read through them and get an idea of what we should be mindful in terms of chanting. So if you could bring them up on the screen here. Were you able to find them, Prabhu? Yeah, there we go. Okay, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2, to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version, like change the books. 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8, to consider chanting of Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruit of activities, karma kanda. 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. And 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Remember that even if one feels they are being offensive, there is no need to stop chanting. By trying to chant sincerely and serving the spiritual master, we may be purified of our offenses and may be able to chant purely, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So just be mindful of those. And one last pastime I wanted to relate to all of you. A few years ago, I was going to a department store. I just go to one store. It's a discount shopping area. And I made friends with some of the staff over time, just casual friendship. And I have a card, I don't have it here, but it's a card I was giving out, Nilesh, and on the back it said for chant and be happy, and I gave the mantra on the back of my business card. So I gave it to this lady that works on the staff there. I said, here. And it turns out over a period of 2 years, I've given her 2 cards. And she says to me yesterday at the counter, she goes, oh, by the way. I said, oh, yes. She calls me Bob. She goes, Bob, by the way, I've been chanting that phrase on the back of the card you gave me. I said, what? I didn't bring it up. I didn't say anything. She goes, oh, yeah, it made me feel really good. And I can't figure out how I can remember it. I've got it memorized. I said, oh, really? She goes, yeah, I keep 2 cards. I keep one in my purse and I have one at my house. And I told her, I said, sister, you chant this, this will give you relief from all distress. She goes, no, I feel it. And I'm very surprised I can remember it. Point to be made here is, if you get people to chant the holy name, however it is, this is inexhaustible. Prabhupada says, once you chant, that chant will carry on with you from lifetime to lifetime until Krishna takes you back home, back to Godhead. And in this way, the devotee is blessed. The devotee that gives that chant to others, they're blessed by Krishna, because we're giving other people the opportunity to get out of this entanglement, this prison house of material world. So I had no idea, Yaśodā-nandana, that she had kept that card. I forgot it completely. She brought it up to me, and believe me, I told her, I said, by the way, the more you chant, the more you bless me, so keep chanting. Hare Krishna. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
I wanted to read a few sections from chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita, and this is related to several questions that have recently been asked. And how can Srila Prabhupada at his advanced age, in the conditions they were facing in New York City in 65, 66, with no support, practically no money, no institutional help, a very blistering winter in New York, how could he do what he did? So I'm going to read, this is from chapter 5, text number 20. It helps us to understand Srila Prabhupada's position. This is text number 20. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, unbewildered, and who knows the science of God, is to be understood as already situated in transcendence. Now, text number 21 tells us, such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure or external objects, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. And the next verse, text number 22, an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. When we look at the purport of this verse, Prabhupada is quoting that Sanskrit verse that I was relating, Ramante yoginanante satyananda chidatmani iti rama padinaso param brahma abhidhyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is also known as Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. We'll move forward with our panel. And I wonder if Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas could make a few comments on today's discussion.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, just a few comments. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu was reading about the spiritual world. And a lot of times we read about the material world, the world of suffering and birth and death. But it's interesting how we hear now and then about, like, the universes are floating on the causal ocean. And some of the universes are actually not floating on it. They're kind of in a type of foam. But these little interesting things are helpful to help us aspire to that time when we were actually in the spiritual world and associating with Krishna in different rasas and ways and performing devotional service. And so I was just thinking along that way. Also, one of our friends went to India a little while back, maybe Bangalore, and they were at different temples, like the Jagannath temple, the ISKCON temple, and then the Radha Krishna temple. And they were commenting how the temples, it seemed like they're exactly the same thing. If you go to the artik, looks the same. It appears to be the same thing, the chanting of the holy names. And I commented, well, you have to actually meet the devotees and ask hard questions. It may look like the same thing, but it's not the same thing. We could kind of give an example, like if someone is in medical school, maybe for a few months they're studying to be a brain surgeon, and the teacher says, oh, I want all of y'all to be famous brain surgeons. All of y'all will be very highly qualified. But after a few months, instead of going through the whole process and graduating, somebody gets a chainsaw and hammer and starts doing brain surgery just because they've been encouraged after a few months. It's not the same thing as someone who's trained for 8 or 12 years, who's really highly qualified and gone through all the exams and also gone through the trainings after you pass the exam. And so, but it's actually very different. But it's hard for somebody who goes to see, because the artik looks the same. You have some deities and some flowers, and smells like incense, and it's kind of a beautiful atmosphere. But it's actually quite different, because unless one follows the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, Prabhupada, the whole thing becomes kind of more or less mundane. So it's actually quite a bit different. So I just wanted to comment upon that. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
That's very well spoken. In fact, we'll move further into the discussion, but I wanted to cite the example of San Diego, where our godbrother was going there, and the devotees that were doing the puja, or the offering, the one person that was claiming to be a Vaishnava, he was taking the pictures. There was like 35 or 40 pictures in the room of different gurus. And he was taking the picture of somebody, we don't even know his name, and offering pranams to that particular so-called guru, offering prasadam to him in the hope that it was going to be accepted in the disciplic succession. No. The Sahajiism is spread throughout the movement, and it, especially in the Vaishnava movement now in 2024. And this type of thing, like you said, everything looks superficially all right, but behind it, there's a philosophical confusion that has destroyed the credibility of the Sankirtan movement because of these bogus gurus. Terrible. And so this is going on in the name of the mission of Lord Chaitanya. And what can you do? Nilesh Sharma, maybe you could further elaborate on the discussion. Nilesh? Your microphone.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear. Thanks.
Excellent.
Excellent.
So it was very interesting to read the purports today and what Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu was talking about, that everybody's mind, everything is fresh about the hurricane. So I just wanted to share something over here.
Yeah.
Where if you look at Sanatana Dharma and what is the, who can we talk about the Sanatana Dharma? What can we relate to? This is what I kind of came about with, because we were discussing the same thing in our class, is that the deities and concepts related to hurricanes. You see, we have of course, the Vayu, the god of wind, Indra, the god of thunderstorms and rain, Varuna, the god of water and oceans, So we have these three main deities involved. But what was interesting when I read was even Rudra, Shiva, is a part of this. Why? Because now as we see the aftermath of the hurricanes, we see that the fierce and destructive aspect of nature. And this destruction is nothing but Rudra itself. In his fierce form, Rudra, an early form of Shiva, is associated with storms, winds, and destruction. Rudra represents the wild, untamed forces of nature. So, this is a constant slap in our face by Maya to tell us about, you don't belong here. You need to be in the spiritual realm. But here we are, we try to kind of create $1 million homes by the ocean. Everybody wants to have an unrestricted view of the Gulf, the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. And then when such things happen, people feel that they're safe up in the mountains of North Carolina, or they feel safe if they're inland, as far inland as Orlando. But when destruction has to come, it'll come. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that kalosmi aham, or mrityu sarvasva harascha aham. I am going to come as death, I'm going to come as time, and I'm going to take away everything. So it is a nice wake-up call for us to understand that we do not belong to this material world, and we belong only to the spiritual sky. Hare Krishna.
Much. Let me see who else was here. Yaśodā-nandana, maybe you could further articulate some thoughts.
Good friend Neil Sharma Prabhu has brought up some very important points. And it goes back to the point I was making earlier, that nothing happens by chance. Our modern society does not understand these principles of these various powerful managers in the universal affairs. It is there. Otherwise, why can't they control it? Why can't they stop the earthquakes? Here in California, there's constant earthquakes all over the place. Why can't they stop it? Stop the hurricanes. Stop the forest fires. Stop the tornadoes all over. They can't. Because it is beyond the power of human being to stop nature. The only way that a person can stop it is by taking shelter of Krishna. And this is very important. Srila Prabhupada says in one lecture in Srimad Bhagavatam lecture in Paris, France, on June 9th, 1974. June 9, 1974 in Paris. Prabhupada says, if you've got material body, you must suffer. It is not the question of European, American, or white, black. There is no such question. If you're animal or a man, as soon as you've got this material body, you must suffer. This is condition. This is material condition. Therefore, our Krishna consciousness movement is not meant for, I mean to say, mitigating the so-called sufferings of the body. When there is body, there must be suffering. So we should not be very much disturbed by the sufferings of the body, because you'll have to suffer, even though you may make very nice arrangement. And this is the point that Nila Sharma Prabhu was saying. You can have $1 million home. That still will not solve the problem of this material world. It will not. Hare Krishna.
And further to that point, I thought it was a really good point you brought up there. And Prabhupada was speaking in Australia. And I think Madhavisa, he brought up a question from the audience. He says, Prabhupada, someone says they're not afraid to die, and they're not afraid of suffering. What do you think of that? And Prabhupada says, he's a crazy man. And everybody laughed. He's a crazy man. People think, oh, I won't be afraid. Everyone's afraid. Fear is part of it. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. I have a new one, eating, sleeping, deceiving, and pretending. That's the new regulated principles for the ISKCON group. Eating, sleeping, deceiving, and pretending, or covering up. That goes on. So, but everyone is afraid to. I know when I recently had 5 cancer operations, I was afraid. Every time I went to the hospital, in the morning, my heart would be beating. Boom, 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 boom. I go, calm down, keep calm. And you know, Krishna's grace, I took my bead bag with me. I chanted in the operating room, and Nilesh, my surgeon, who's the chief surgeon at the hospital in the urology department, he got all the staff to chant with me before they operated on me. They were swinging back, Hare Krishna, and they give the anesthetic. I went out. I just went out to the chanting. But it was really mercy that Krishna protected us through that, by the grace of the holy name and by the grace of the spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master. And we're here to carry on service. And that's what we'll do. We'll continue to present the truth of the matter, irrespective of the difficulty. Because Prabhupada was having difficulty when he was in New York. Yes, much difficulty. They stole his type. We just finished reading. He got his typewriter stolen. He had his book bag stolen. And so later, Keith Ham, I know there was a comment here, but I refer to him as Keith Ham. He stole Prabhupada's manuscript. Yes, he tried to present it to a printer and it was rejected by the printer. So Prabhupada underwent a lot of difficulty in trying to spread this mission. And so at the same time, we all are doing something to try to maintain this momentum. And there may be some difficulty, but what can we do? We're following the example, Nilesh, of Srila Prabhupada. He's teaching us, and we're getting the good association of all of us in these group sessions. I see we've reached almost 100,000 views of our classes online. So gradually, not all 100,000 people, but that many views of them, and from different people. And we thank everyone for being a part of this effort to protect Srila Prabhupada's legacy in his unedited, unchanged books, and the proper presentation of Guru Tattva to the people that we have the opportunity to speak to. So thank you very much. We're at 9:30. We want to thank you for being a part of the program this evening. And we'll move forward now with the chanting of Hare Krishna by Srila Prabhupada, along with him playing the mridanga back in 1966. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We can go to the kirtan. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Let us offer our respectful obeisances and pranams to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating. Thank Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Neelashyama Prabhu in turbulent southern Florida, in Miami, Florida, Rochisa Devi Dasi in Montreal, and everybody participating in this auspicious program. I see that Ron Singh, I don't know if he's in Tibet or in California, but thank you very much for participating. I just want to make a brief announcement because some people are inquiring what has happened to the publication of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are working on it, and the Prabhu in San Diego, our good friend Krishna Kata, is diligently working on it. We are in negotiations with various parties to get proper quotes to utilize Krishna's money properly. And as soon as we have some more development, we'll be more than happy to let you know. Please join us on Saturday morning at 7:00 a.m. for the reading of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and lively discussion. This will take place 7 a.m. corresponding to 10 a.m. Florida time, or 10 a.m. in Hamilton, Ontario time. We welcome everybody to participate and join us in the discussion. Again, thank you very much, and we look forward to see you all there. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.